Hello, 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 my beauties. It's Viv here, and I'm just so happy to be here. And actually, I'm making some tea, so I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get it right now. But what I plan to talk to you about is basically sharing just a bit of my story. So the title is wrong. I'm going to change the title. So when you all see it, it'll be different. But I'm going to talk about how to get settled in. Hold on, guys. How to get settled in when you are in, hold on, when you're in a new, oh, that's going to work. When you're in a new place and you either have relocated or you're slow traveling to, look for a new home or whatever, or you've just even moved to a new place. Okay. We're going to talk about how to get yourself resettled and regrounded when you're in a new location. So hang on one second. I was brewing some chai tea and I'll be right back. If you have any questions, and say hi in the chat. Okay. See if it's probably going to follow me, which is interesting. All right, I think the cameras are getting too smart, honestly. Some cold water, guys. All right, you can get some honey. So it's like having a film crew following you, because now the camera is smart enough to like find you. Can we all agree that is a little bit creepy? So yeah, and I'm gonna say it. There's another person who I watch a lot as well, who has some overlap with me demographic wise. And so I'm probably not going to get a lot of folks on the live, but many of you will watch this in the recording. Okay, I know that because our communities, there's definitely some overlap. So again, this video, I'm just going to share if you are slow traveling, especially for women, right? If you're doing scouting trips, as many folks are, maybe you need a little break from stress in the US. Maybe you just do want to travel. Maybe you're looking for a relocation spot in your retirement, anything like that. This video will be helpful to you. And or if you've just moved, you've just moved to a new location, it's also going to be helpful. Okay, I want more honey. So the first thing, if you're new to me, I'm Viv, and I'm a meditation teacher and holistic stress coach, sort of combining all the things I've done in the past, like yoga and meditation, training and background, into helping primarily women deal with their level of stress. Okay. So I'm all about the dealing with stress, feeling healthier, happier. Okay, there we go. I think that's as much honey as I'm going to get. So say hi in the chat if you are here. And again, if you're in the replay club, do say hi in the comments, because I know, many more folks will watch on the replay. Okay, so what can you do to feel more settled in a place? If you are someone, you're in a new location, the first thing, well, actually, I'm not going to start with that, but I'm going to start with the first thing and the second thing. They're going to seem contradictory. So the first thing I would do is establish a routine. Okay, so I am here in the UK. Let me know if you want me to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the UK as an American, living here, not like, being here as an American. What does it feel like? I am not actually living in the UK. The UK is not the final destination. It is temporary. I'm here as a tourist, but Americans can stay in the UK for up to 6 months per visit. So, it might be nice if you have family or if you're looking at relocation, or for whatever reason, maybe you want a soft landing and travel as a tourist, and then you go on exploring other parts of the world. Okay. So the first thing, though, I would do is establish a routine. That's the first tip. Again, if you're slow traveling or retired and moving around a little bit, trying to get settled, establish a routine for yourself. So, what time do you typically wake up? What are you going to do in the days? How are you going to spend your time? And I'm actually going to jump to the second thing because they interweave. So the second thing is that I wrote down is give yourself a messy week. Give yourself a messy week if you're slow traveling and or relocated to a new place. So what do I mean by that? I'm finding, and as I look back to in the past before I made this video, I was thinking about it, I would say it takes at least 3 days to a week to just start to get like to land, to literally land. So for me, again, to be totally transparent with you guys, like I didn't unpack right away and put things, into the drawers and hang things up. Now, if you're like that, if you can go hit the ground running, that's great. But I would suggest that give yourself a messy week where you just know, you don't have to be perfect. You're not settled into the new life yet because it's almost like whether you're staying in an Airbnb, whether you're going to stay with family at first, whether you've got an apartment that you rented in your new location, right? You don't know the apartment yet. So there's a sense of your spirit, right, needs to like land as well. You're physically there, but to get grounded. So again, if you can unpack and settle in immediately, that's fine, do you? But what I found is it takes about three days to a week before I really felt like, okay, let me unpack my luggage. Again, I know that might sound weird to some of you. Let me know. But like, I just kept my luggage, neatly in the luggage. Like I kept my clothing and everything, and I would just go to my luggage because it's like I'm still transitional. Okay. Let me know if that has happened to you. So with that, once you've gotten a little bit settled, you've gotten over that messy couple of days where, maybe you just threw your jewelry down, your watch, you're just putting things in random places. Once you start to feel more settled, you'll naturally, this is the type I am, start to get a routine. So maybe then you realize, okay, you know what? I want to use this dresser, right? You're in an Airbnb. You don't put your stuff in every single dresser, right? Or in the closet, this part of the closet. Like what works for you to start to like integrate into the place that you're staying, okay? So that's part of establishing a routine. That's actually a second part of it is to kind of make the place your own. I'm actually going to write that down. Make the place comfortable for you. Make the place comfortable. Okay? So that's actually the second thing I would say. So yeah, where do I put my shoes? Where do I want my keys to be? I bought some fruit. Okay, where exactly in the kitchen do I put my fruit? Little things like that. Once you start making that decision, you'll start to feel more settled. Okay, that's what I found. So then the third thing is establish a routine. When I was scouting Italy actually last year, and remember, I'd gotten an artist grant for the airfare, and then I was vacationing and sort of scouting parts of Italy. I established a routine because I realized, like, if you're traveling solo, you need some structure. So what I did, and I haven't made videos of it, the town I chose to stay as an artist was filled with murals. It's famous for its murals, right? And there are many towns like that around the world. So what I did, though, what made sense is, oh, why don't I document um, all, well, not all. Why don't I document the murals, right? So that gave me something every morning. I'd get up, I'd either make my coffee or my tea inside, and sometimes I'd go to the cafe, right? That would be the routine, was the tea and maybe a light breakfast. Then I'd go out walking around with my camera, which was my phone, because the phones have such great cameras, right? And I would discover new murals, and so that would, one, get me walking, get me out of the house, potentially to meet people, and also something to document, a task to do. So that's really important. Establish a routine. Um, Again, say hi in the chat if you're here. And I know like I said, some of you are going to be like, oh, you're jinxing yourself. No. They're like right now, Stephanie Perry, who has an overlap with my audience. She's live and she tends to go live for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so there are not as many folks here, in my live, but that is fine. I know you guys will watch in the replay. So what else? We overlap. I'm not really travel per se, but um, wellness, holistic health, meditation, healing, right? And travel can be one way to do that. So let's see. I'm going to save this one for last. So first thing, give yourself a messy week, then start to make the place comfortable. Number two. Number three, some sort of routine. So for you, maybe you're working part-time, maybe it's that you have a call with your daughter or your grandkids at a certain time every day or whatever. You want to have things that anchor you, right, in your routine. It could be, actually, I'll save that for the next one. So, oh, also right away, maybe the next day that you land in that messy week, make connections to your loved ones. So back home, I did not do this the first time I was slow traveling and just sort of seeing life abroad. I, for a variety of reasons, wasn't as able to keep up with loved ones back home. So this time I really determined that I'm gonna keep in touch with them. And I said to them, I got kind of sad and lonely last time. And part of it was I was coming out of all the stuff happening in the US and being a very sensitive person, I was just like a sponge taking everything in. And I mean, I still do that to an extent. So I had kind of isolated. And so at least, even if it's just one or two people, even if it's just one person, check in with them regularly, your connections back home. Okay. That's really important. And guys, I'm actually gonna hold on. I want to lower this because I think that it's a little bit too high. Here we go. So yeah, make connections with folks back home, even people that you guys that I'm not super close with. Oops, and now it's the reflection on my glasses. There we go. Even folks that I'm not super close with back home, I've really told them, what I'm up to, that I'm traveling, I'm officially retired now, and I'm going to really try to actually maintain friendships better abroad than necessarily when we were in the same town. Now, if you're an American, you know what I'm saying. Like many of us, we can live very close to our family or friends and still not see them because we're so busy. So, one positive about being abroad or slow traveling or being retired abroad is that you have more time and maybe a little bit less pressure. And so you can actually maintain relationships better. So I will see how that goes. But I think it's very important, again, especially for solo travelers, whether male or female, make the connections to loved ones right away. Like the day after you land, 2 days after, just start being in contact, share stories with them, share how the travel was, everything, how the trip was, the airport, did something funny happen, share that with them. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let me keep going now. Again, this is all to help you deal with your stress and to feel more connected. And sorry, the computer is like moving a little bit. I have it on a plastic thing that's uneven. So what else? This is not the final one, but this is the last one well, no, there's another one. Yeah, the bonus one I wanted to share with you. Tap into a hobby. I can't emphasize that enough. So when you're in a new location, especially as a solo traveler, solo woman, retired, checking to see if you want to live in a location, again, scouting trip, you want to tap into your hobby. So do you like, do you like African dance? Do you swim? Do you love swimming to de-stress? Um, you know, do you like painting? Do you like crafts? Are you a crafter? Like, what is a solid hobby that you really like? And so, again, to bring in my example in the UK, and I have a like kind of a magical story because again, tap into that hobby to meet people. Very important. I would do that within like the second week. I really would. So that's a timeline. I would say even by the second, it can take longer, but it depends how settled you want to feel. If you're checking to see if this is a location you can live in, I would say, like, check it out. Is salsa dancing something that's happening? Is Zumba? Is there like a gym culture and you really, really like to go to the gym? Okay. So I would say by the second week, but if not, like the third week in your timeline in a new place, start to get into the hobby. So what I did, I joined I got like a discount. I'm going to take a bunch of classes and I went to a yoga studio. And you guys, just from that, and I've said this before in other videos, go, especially if you have a hobby that you know attracts certain types of people. That's really important because that's where you're probably going to meet your friend group. So I did that. I signed up to take a bunch of classes, and literally the first class I take, I feel like I'm starting to be friends with that teacher. I'm also a yoga teacher, so that makes sense for me. Like if you're a computer nerd, go to like the like computer nerd meetup, like something that's very specific. If you're learning Spanish or go to that thing where you're going to meet really like-minded folks. So yeah, I feel like I've already connected in with this community. Like, funny enough, she then was like, "Oh, you should check this out." And it was this like kind of herbal store that I had already seen. I was like, "Oh, I got to check that out." She goes, "Oh yeah, no, you'd probably be interested in this." So again, if your hobby is something very specific that pulls certain types of people, like if you're extroverted, and so that's why you love like salsa dancing, partner dancing, go to that, stretch yourself, even if it's in a foreign language. You're going to meet people who really resonate with the energy of the thing. Okay, so again, hi, if you're just joining. So tap into the hobby to meet people. And the final thing that I have, and again, this is kind of not Vlogmas. Vlogmas is where you vlog every day, typically around the holidays. It's a Vlogmas mini, that I'm doing because I'm taking it, trying to take it easy and yeah, not, I was following, like, I think Rashida Dow decided she's doing Vlogmas, and then there's another woman who's wonderful. I'm blocking her name now, Glow, something like that. And she's been doing live every single day. And her channel has exploded, but it's like when you do that, but she's been doing it since August, that can also lead to burnout. So I'm really, as a healer, as a teacher, I'm trying to modulate. It's like, Viv, do you really want to do this at this time? So that's why it might be every other day, but like 3 times a week, you'll see me live during the holidays. So the final thing, this came to me I thought I had the theme, okay? How to take care of yourself when you're slow traveling, when you're exploring a new location. Call on the power of your ancestors. Hey, Prophet Mother. Call on the power of your ancestors. So that means Steph must have ended her live. So I was just saying to folks, and it's true, there's definite overlap in audience. And she was live and she runs live like 2 hours, sometimes hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to have as many people because of that overlap. But I didn't want to wait. I'm going to make my dinner in a little bit. So call on the power of your ancestors when you're in a new location. Like, this came to me, I think it was channeled from the ancestors. Do whatever practice or even just get quiet and tap into the wisdom. You could even put your hand at the center, your heart center, and just really feel like you're tapping into the power of your ancestors. So you might say, how do I do that, Viv? Just very simply, I'll picture like my mom, or like the feminine side of the family, to be really honest. I just sort of almost generic, the feminine, the masculine. And then I literally see like a tree branching out because their mother, her mother, father, then their mother, father, and it's just this endless tree. And I just feel like I see it developing, going way back into the past. So the power of your ancestors, they're with you to help you settle into this new location. And Prophet Mother, I'd be curious what you think about this. I also really believe, and I've also heard Stephanie Perry say this, and I really thought, I was being far out there with this, but I think that as for those in my audience who are African American, of African descent, I think sometimes we, especially in the US, there really is this sense of wanting to limit us. And what I'm going to say doesn't mean that this one thing is a limit, but it's almost like to chop off parts of ourself. And so I think when I talk ancestors, I don't just mean your grandma who oh, they were from the Caribbean, they were from Trinidad, and then before that, they were from the Ivory Coast. I'm saying go back 2,000 years. Like we have ancestry all over the world. And so just really claim the whole world as yours. So tap into your ancestors. You're the fruit of all of their wisdom, all of their struggles, whether that was famine, whether that was, bondage, whether that was misogyny and rape or being enslaved or being the lower classes and being the upper classes. We have ancestors that experienced everything. And so I really think we can pull on that power of our ancestors. Let me know, those of you watching the replay, especially if you want me to maybe talk more about that. So again, this was just about how to settle when you're doing a scouting trip. Many of like the folks who are watching Rashida Dow and Stephanie Perry and Picky Girl Travels the World are a lot, especially of Black women and women of color who are, leaving the US, even if maybe just for a time, just for a sabbatical, they just need a little bit of rest, right? Because there's so much going on in the US and it really, in fact, in the whole world. So again, I'm just going to go over what some of my tips were to get yourself established and grounded and centered. The first tip was give yourself a messy week where you don't, things aren't in the right place. You just throw things down. You don't have a where my shoes go? Where do I put my jewelry? Where do I put my bath products exactly in the bathroom? Just give yourself a messy week. Then, two, as you feel more comfortable, right? Make the place more comfortable. Start to kind of have agency over the place. Okay, this is how I want to use this closet. Those upper shelves in this Airbnb, I'm not going to use. That's too crazy. And I'm just going to put my stuff in this dresser and I'm going to leave that empty. I'm going to leave my shoes here. So figure that out. Then establish a routine, some sort of activity that you do every day, especially if you're traveling solo. So whether that is I go for a walk every day to this wonderful park, or I go to this bistro, I just go have a cup of coffee. It doesn't have to cost a lot. I could be a walk in the park, or I go to a cultural thing every day or something. The routine could even connect to folks back home. Oh, I call my daughter every day, or I call, this member of my family and my best friend. So have a routine. The fourth thing I was tap into your hobby to start meeting new people. I would say do that right away. I'd said the second week if you can. And then finally call on the power of your ancestors. Like just feel that spiritually, meditate. And actually, that would probably be six. I would say reestablish your spiritual practice, whether for you it's reading the Bible, whether for you it's prayer, whether it's devotion, whatever it is, whether it is doing a physical, a yoga, and that's very spiritual and connects you through your body, connects you to God, to Great Spirit. Do your spiritual practice. And I just started that, and I think that took me a week. I was, I could have tried to force myself, but honestly, you're going to have jet lag. Again, I'm talking to people who are relocating or slow traveling, and you might have traveled a big distance, right? So give yourself some grace. You're going to have some jet lag. So you might not right away be on the like, this is my spiritual routine. and this is what I do every morning. You read a verse of the Quran or something, whatever you do, give yourself a little grace that that first week you may not fall right into your routine, or you may need to do a shorter little bite size. That's what I found, guys. I literally started with, this is crazy. One night I really wanted to meditate, but it was already late. I literally set my timer for 3 minutes of meditation, which is absurd. I'm like, should I do five? No, I'm so tired. I'm going to do three. And I did 3 minutes of meditation. I felt peaceful and I went peacefully to bed, right? So maybe do your spiritual practice, but make a little chunk, a little bite size that you can do with your jet lag, with your new location. Maybe you're dealing with a new language. Your friends aren't around you. So these are the tips if you are traveling solo, especially. Oh, thank you. I don't know which point, Prophet Mother, at which point did you say that? About the ancestors? Was that about the ancestors? Hold on. Yeah. Let me see, because I kind of saw your comment pop up. The bite-sized chunk. Yeah. 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 Thank you for that. Yeah. The bite-sized chunk. And that's what I ended up doing. That's really what I ended up doing. So guys, I'm going to keep going a little bit longer. But I know the time also is different for me. But again, now that I'm in the UK, so you guys are no, not six, you're 5 hours behind. So it's kind of the middle of the day, right? It's like one or no, guys, I'm dyslexic with numbers. It's like 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So it's lunchtime as I'm coming to you, right? And typically my audience knows I don't typically show up on Sunday. And Sunday I used to, but this isn't a typical time for me. I'm more of an evening time, but it's evening here. So you'll have to get used to that. So I will be doing a modified Vlogmas. Let me know the types of things that you want me to talk about. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a really important point. I mean, I feel like I could make a whole video on that. We have ancestors that have experienced every single thing, whether it's famine, whether it's being nomadic, having to move from one part of the world to 300 miles, 500 miles back in the day, um, and maybe go back when the season changes. So we have ancestors that have every bit of wisdom, and I do believe I know we can tap into that. I could also talk a little bit about my shamanic practice and how one of my shamanic teachers, you guys, in terms of talking about ancestors, she often says to us, don't think you're making it up, because you'll think, oh, I made that up. How could I know an ancestor, 1200 years ago, blah, blah, blah. I was given this information. She tells us, go and check. And she's given multiple examples. Like you might be shown a particular herb, for example, that might help your condition from your ancestors. You look into it, where these ancestors are from, they may tell you in your work with them. And then you find out, oh my gosh, this was like the herb that grew in that area. They made tea from it for pain. That was a known thing in this Native American tribe or this African tribe in East Africa. That literally this was the herb that you were shown that you could not have known. Okay. So oftentimes, even in working with the ancestors, we can actually get proof. We can check it. And that's when you'll get chills, because you'll be like, I did not know this. I had no way of knowing this. But literally you go back through like histories or anthropologists, like you research and this comes forward. So that's really deep. Maybe I can, hey, Positivity 1900, I can definitely do videos on that. But with my Vlogmas, I'm just popping on, and Glow, her name is Glow Antonimo. And she's just like just like, be yourself, go live, even have make more makeup on than I usually would. I have a little concealer on because I was going to go to this cool event I'm not going to say too much about it, actually, for specific reason. And you guys, so I'm going to transition maybe to talking a little bit about what I like and what I see are some challenges in the UK. So public transport, I would say if you're outside of London, is not great. I'm finding, and even when I was in the UK before, I shouldn't say it's not, their train system is excellent. But things have happened that, and again, I know you don't want to constantly compare a new place to your old place, but that's human nature, right? Their trains, I remember the last time I was here, I thought it was hilarious. They're like, oh, the 4:45 train's not running because we don't have a driver. I was like, I'm sitting there like, what? What do you mean you don't have a driver? I'm like, kid, I was like, can't you call somebody else? Like the American way of thinking is, don't you have somebody on backup? You have somebody on call. You have a couple guys who just sit around. Like, I mean, there must be some. They're like, no, the train's canceled. We do not have a driver. And I was like, hundreds of people, actually, it was the middle of the day. But I'm just saying, if it was in London, probably they'd divert. If it were London, they would find somebody, right? So the train system is extensive in the UK. But there definitely are issues where either there's something with the track, or I just remember it seemed to happen a lot, you know, that there'd be an issue. Yeah, let's see. So positivity 1900, let me 1990. I agree. I've always felt connected to my, yeah, Celtic and East Indian ancestors since I was a child. Hmm. Thank you, positivity. Thank you. Because I so years ago, maybe I don't know, for whatever reason, I was attracting folks who were more like orthodox in their thinking about spirituality and religion. So positivity, you're like more the audience that I'm speaking to, because everyone, whatever your complexion, actually, you have heritage from a lot of the world. Most people, most, not all. I actually had a Korean friend who, and they're very, very into heritage in Korea. I forgot how thousands of years she traced back. And she's like, there are like four main like groups that make up most Koreans. And she's like, and the surname, and she's like, we go back like 4,000 years, just Korean. I was like, okay. But most people, um, and even spiritually, we have a right to claim heritage from all parts of this planet. We're not, and I know this is not real popular right now, but we're not separate in that we're not totally separate beings. And I see this constant, and it's being fed of to fight each other, to tear each other down, also to group people as, oh, these people, and I even some people that I watch that I quite like fall into this. There are some bad people, evil people in every group. Some groups, it may seem like they're more than others, or there's culturally and historically, absolutely. But you'll never ever hear me on this channel. And I do hear some people that I like and I follow say, oh, those people are like this. And I just think it's wrong. Um, it's wrong on many levels. You're grouping, however many people, and you're saying it's just wrong. It's hurtful. And it's what is done, especially to Black people. Oh, they're like this. An example, one person commits a crime and then somehow it's all those people, right? So I refuse to do that. I refuse to do that. And it has probably definitely lost me some followers. So positivity, thank you for that comment. And it's your truth, right? That all of those bloodlines are within you. All of those connections are still there. Those strands are there. Some might come through more strongly than others. I'm feeling like I'm supposed to talk about the ancestors. Maybe I'll make a separate video. But at different times, we can tap into different strands of our ancestry. So definitely. Hey, Greg, hope you did not have what was it? A 14-hour day, Greg? I hope you did not. So I was just ending the video by just sharing a little bit about my things that I've noticed about the UK. Maybe I will keep it separate because YouTube really likes when you stay on point. And also, if somebody comes to a video, they kind of sometimes they have like, that's the topic. Um, so yes. Say, Gregory, say hi to Prophet Mother, who has a wonderful channel as well. Okay, she says, I know what you mean, Viv. I agree. No group is not, yeah. And it happens quite a lot. Like I said, people who I like and respect can fall into it. And I understand it because my God, your likes, you'll see the heart start popping. This tribalism unites people. Tribalism unites people. We're seeing that in the US, right? It unites people against others. It unites people to conflict when they actually have more in common than if they united, they would actually all be stronger. But it's within the human psyche, I do think. I do really believe that there's part of the human psyche that when, and I think many, many creatures, beings we see, if like if I'm looking actually at a golden retriever, if a golden retriever sees another golden retriever, there's like a simpatico, right? Maybe they actually may hate each other, but they're like, okay, I understand you. So I feel like many powerful people and even energies want to create, and I know a lot of you will agree with this, because we see it, you can see through it. They demonize, literally, and that word came from, I actually was finding out even the usage of that word in the Bible, demonizing a group, right? Linking them with just utter negativity. So then once you've done that, you can destroy them, you can just annihilate them. We see this happening around the world. Middle East, parts of Africa, not as much South America to my knowledge, but every part of the world, we lump a group together, we paint them as horrible for what, again, one person raped, horrible crime, but then, oh, look at all those people, look at all of those people, that's just how they are. And we don't look at, well, what about the thousands of others that didn't do that act? You don't highlight them. I mean, it's obvious. Give me a yes if you're with me. So I think it is a stage of human development. I think that I think we are evolving through that, but it's difficult. It's difficult because it would create more nuance to say, oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're evil, truly evil people in all cultures. Um, and yes, so some cultures might have had more power, therefore the evil people had more power and were able to do more damage. That can be absolutely be true. But again, we have to really just try and be discerning and not like lump, because again, it's what's done to any group that is, and I'm blocking the word right now, that is subjugated, is the group that's subjugating finds everything, they put everything that they don't like, often about themselves, and they put it on this other group who is often visibly different. That's helpful, right? They're a different, they look different in some way than the dominant group. So it's easy to mark them as, oh, those are the bad people. So this has been throughout history. I just say this again because I think it's happening so much now. People are being played, groups are being played against each other. And that's really, really sad. And it's influencing how we think and how we relate to each other. Yeah, very, very much. So positivity says yes. Thank you for your comment, positivity. I agree because we're all multidimensional beings. I personally have always resisted labels as it feels restrictive. I don't like being put into a box or putting others into a box. Exactly. Until they prove to you. I mean, absolutely. If I know, listen, if somebody, let's use pedophiles, because as we can say, certain things are being forgotten, again, pushed out of the news. if I know somebody got out of prison as a pedophile, it's like you've shown in the past you've done this, that particular person. I'm going to be wary. I'm going to know where they live, and especially if I have kids, I'm going to know where they live in my neighborhood. I probably make sure, I'm going to be aware of their past. Um, and I'm going to be more cautious. Am I going to say that that group, it's a man, say he comes from a particular ethnic group? Am I going to say, oh, all of them? No, no. I see people on YouTube trying to like, all the pedophiles are in this party. I'm like, oh, stop it. Oh, stop it. Oh, they're all this particular party only has the pedophiles. There's no pedophiles that registered for this. It's like, just don't be so, people can be dumb. People can be dumb. I'm like, just stop. So I'm not saying you can be aware of somebody's past behavior. As I said, what's the saying, you guys? It was like, if somebody's a thief, somebody's a thief, right? They've been convicted, things go missing. Don't leave out your gold, your gold bracelet and your earrings. That no, right? It's not saying you can't have common sense, but it's this blanket talk about the group. It drives me crazy. On that note, I do want to end with one, and I probably will be live tomorrow. I am presenting in Krishan's group. If you are a part of Black Sit Global, I am presenting tomorrow. I believe it's 3. It's 3 Lisbon time. I still have to really double check that Lisbon time is the same as UK time, because sometimes they're an hour off. But if you're in Black Sit Global, I'll be presenting on how I traveled for 5.5 months, nearly 6 months, with just carry-on and on a budget. So Krishan invited me to present on that, so I should probably go look at my slides and practice. But if you're in Black Sit Global, please come. And I also wanted to just share, I wanted to give them a shout out, especially since I got into the spiritual talk. There's a group of monks. Okay. Any of you meditate, a group of monks. Okay. I know most of my audience will be like, okay, wait, monks. Okay. I love your affirmations, Viv, but why are we talking about monks? So they started on October 26th. Apparently they're walking from Fort Worth, Texas, and they're going to end up in DC, not till February, guys. Cause I was like, okay, they're going to get to DC by Christmas. No, it says February. So they are walking. So I just want to shout them out because if you just Google monks doing a peace walk, they went through some deep part of the South. And don't you know, I was going to say some fool, pretend I didn't say that, but someone, not deliberately, so they're walking even on the side of highways. So Buddhist monks, if you don't know, and this is actually the lineage I'm in, like the form of Buddhism that I studied and learned meditation in, it's from Southeast Asia. So these monks are pretty brown, like, and some may actually be African American or African as well, but it's parts of Southeast Asia. So like Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand are the main countries. I'm leaving out some countries, but Southeast Asia, and they wear brown robes. So I was literally moved to tears. These monks are walking for peace, like for us, okay? These monks are walking for peace for Americans and for what they see happening in the country. Some of them are barefoot, okay? Barefoot on asphalt. Okay, like I said, I was moved to tears. I didn't know this was happening. I don't, know the background of their particular monastery, but again, from their robes, their appearance, their robes, their names, I know that they're Southeast Asian lineage and Vietnam. So these are monks. This type of Buddhism is from Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and now I left out the other one, right? There's like 4 or 5 countries, and that's the type of meditation that I studied. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and Google it, and maybe we can support them. The total walk they're doing for peace, this walk is just to raise awareness for peace, is going to be 2,300 miles on foot. Like I said, one monk was walking in his socks, and I'm like, dude, somebody could donate. Like what? Now, in Asia, some parts of Asia where the monks do go out for their meal, some of you really probably aren't following me, but some of you might be interested. It's typical that the monks leave their monastery, they have a bowl, and this is crazy. I could not do this, and this might be a separate video. They're given food by the villagers, but the food, because I'm like, okay, I got my little bowl of food, I got some lentils, I got some rice. They mix it all up typically because they don't want the monks to like fixate on the food and the flavor. So they like, I think I've heard that in some of the monasteries, they just mix all the food together and you're presented with it. It's like, but yeah, I saw news coverage of it, and there was a brother, a black man, giving water out of the back of his pickup truck. And I love that. He had a big old pickup truck because they are walking through the South. And he just had his water, and the monks, maybe 30 of them, you guys, and not necessarily young. I mean, they, 25 to maybe 50 in their robes, got all their stuff on them. They are walking by the side of highways, and then they camp overnight. I think they find camps. So he was giving them water as they're walking by. It was really beautiful to see, and they are walking for peace. Okay, this is like really arduous. So check it out, and maybe I'll shout them out again. Apparently, TikTok is featuring them a lot, but I'm not on TikTok very much. And here on YouTube, one of the monks, guys, even got hit by a car. Another, I think it was a pickup. One of the monks, you can't make this up. He's smiling. He's in the hospital bed smiling. They're like, the voiceover says his leg had to be amputated. Like they amputated, I think, from the knee down. And he's in the bed, and he's just like, I knew something could happen to me, but I wanted to do this, and just as happy as can be. And he was donated a wheelchair. So yeah, I was crying. I was moved because he's like, I wanted to do this walk for peace and just to bring awareness to these ideas, and that we as humans can get along. And he lost part of his leg, is now in a wheelchair, or hopefully somebody will get him a prosthetic so that he can walk, but somebody crashed into them while they were walking. So you could also just Google that. But a lady donated wheelchair for warriors. She donated a wheelchair. But I was just so moved, so moved. Yeah. Oh, you did hear about, I did not hear about them. And the reason I was moved, like I said, guys, these are the monks, not those exact monks, but this is a lineage that I did learn meditation in. I studied with monks from Burma, and they wear brownish robes. Their robes are different. Like you can just tell them apart. Shave their heads, brown robes, begging bowl. They're very respected in their countries. Like I said, the poorest people give them even a little bit of rice, right? The monk comes by, they're like, okay, let me give him some rice. It's very, very respected. So I was really moved to see, because there are different lineages, but to see the lineage that I really like. For those of you who really care, it's called Theravadan Buddhism, or Theravada. It's the early Buddhism, the closest supposedly taught to what the Buddha taught. So in those countries, it was India at the time, but like Sri Lanka, Nepal, left out Nepal, kind of countries, the Theravadan is into Nepal as well, Thailand, Sri Lanka. So I was just really moved by their pilgrimage, 2,300 miles, and they will not finish till February. So I may do an update. I would actually love to do an interview with one of them. They're walking every day, so I don't think I'd be able to get them to talk with me. But on that note, meditation is so important for us. And I think there definitely were very many Black people following them. You could see like either greeting them or when they'd stop, because we really felt it's like these people are putting themselves out there for peace, that they could just stay in their monastery and chill, but they're walking 2,300 miles. So I did just teach soulful mindfulness. I am considering, let me know in the comments, is this something you'd want me to teach again in the spring? I also offered scholarships, so it was not like a huge money-making thing. I think I will continue to have scholarships, but most likely the price will go up because I do have to support myself. But meditation is so crucial, and so helpful. So I really hope that our community can, and these monks exemplify why I got into it, and why, and it's past lives as well. But just saying, if you're interested, keep in mind we can study meditation together and soulful mindfulness. And if you'd like me to do it in the spring, I have not decided yet. I have to really check and see if there's enough people interested to run it again in the spring, because typically I just run it in the fall. So on that note, I'm going to go. My, oh, my little golden friend had a burr that was like, he was trying to figure out, do I swallow it? What do I do with this? So sweet. I probably will be back tomorrow. Again, if you are in Blacksit Global, check out my presentation tomorrow, Sunday, December 14th. And positivity also, yeah, you guys are more up on things than I am. So I may cut off the end of this. Um, Thankfully, YouTube lets us do that, but I hope this was helpful to you. Yeah, it was great to have you, Prophet Mother. And yeah, I hope this was helpful if you're doing a scouting trip. And Prophet Mother, maybe that's something we can talk about. I know you have a group, but these tips in terms of if you're doing a scouting trip or just starting travel abroad and you're slow traveling, which is the saner way to do it, to just slow yourself down. You're going to have a better time. You're going to save money. And so I hope these tips helped. All right. Much love, peace and blessings. I'll talk to you later. Bye.